All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Rich Ian. I'm covering for Eric. Eric is not feeling well tonight. So I'm pitch hitting, came out of the bullpen. I feel great. So I'm ready to go. So the first order for us tonight is to approve and discuss the minutes from our last meeting
Do a quick roll call.
and a roll call. Thank you.
You can just go around.
Around the room.
Eric Bamber,
Noonan,
John Federico,
Mike Colton.
Kevin Lee.
Rich Ann.
Just call the meeting.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. It's 6:35. All right, here we go. So let's look at the minutes and have any discussion on the minutes from our meeting last week.
Quick meeting.
Quick meeting, yep, on February 18th.
10 minutes.
Yeah. World record, right?
Solid.
They want to come
Is that
to.
it?
That's where we get the extra credit for you guys.
We just had a motion from Michael.
Michael.
Move to accept
That's-
it.
oh, wait, there's just a typo.
Oh,
It's in my name.
oh,
It says Laura Noonan seconds. There's an N on the end of my name that should just be taken off. It's clearly not a big deal, but
Where's that? Which,
agenda item review proposal / vote. Hunt Snack Shack.
That is a good.
oh, right there.
I'm the only one that saw it clearly because it's my name, but
oh, yes. Catch them all. Like, you're like our A+ student.
Yeah. Keep watching it. So we got a motion, Mike and Eric, you second it?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
I,
We have to go around the room, right?
I don't.
That would, it makes it easier.
Yeah, we have to go around the room.
Sure. Yes, Mike says yes.
I,
Aye.
And I, yep.
You said I.
I don't have a vote.
You can in abstention.
1, 2, 3,
Four.
4.
We need to
elevate.
Need to elevate somebody.
I'm sorry.
All right. Would like to be nominated to elevate to a member tonight.
We got here first.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Go for it. It's all you. Step forward.
Sure, I'll do it.
Motion.
Motion?
Second.
I can't make a
Yeah,
motion.
someone's gonna make a
I
motion.
make a motion that will elevate Kevin to full membership.
Okay,
Wait, are you a member or an associate? So we
No.
need to do 2. We need 2.
We need 5.
five,
We need 2 more because there's only 3 of us. So
1, 2, 4,
Kevin and somebody else.
Mike,
No, it's
1,
five.
5, 1, 2, 3,
You would be the
4.
5.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
The cake's here.
Hey.
Oh, here we
All
go.
that for nothing.
Vice Chair.
The railroad is the damn railroad crossing.
That's a likely
I
story.
think I would have come to Rich.
Restart with the motion. Well, I'd restart with
Okay.
her here with the minutes.
Okay, hi Kate, thanks for joining us. We're gonna.
We got a quorum now.
There we go.
Gotta reset, we gotta reset. Ready? All right, so, in terms of the minutes, have any discussion on the minutes? Have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion second.
Okay,
Second.
all right,
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
all in favor? I think we need to go around the room because we're on video, right?
Mike Coleman is aye.
Lori Noonan is I.
Kate Cameron, I.
Eric Bamber, aye.
Rich Hand, aye.
Good.
All right, the minutes have been approved.
We have a quorum now.
Yep,
We have 5.
yep, we have five.
Quick math.
Just say it, kid.
All right, thank you, Kate.
These rules.
All right, next up on our agenda is any public comment? So anybody on the meeting tonight, any comment?
Angela's hands up.
Angela.
Angela.
Hi, Angela.
You can unmute. She should be able to unmute herself. Can you unmute yourself, Angela?
That's good.
Oh, it's not a hand. That's just my.
Yeah,
Yeah, my hand is not up,
Yeah, we had our
but
little,
thank you.
our little glove over your box. I
All
apologize.
right.
We're doing great tonight.
Let's just walk out and come back. We all got stuck at the railroad run.
Yeah. So no public discussion?
No public comment. No.
All right. Next on our agenda is the amplified sound. We have a request for amplified sound from the Reading Lions Club. for June 14th, this year, 2025, for the Reading Friends, Family and Friends Day, to be held at Birch Meadow Complex from 10:30 to 3 p.m. Any motion, any discussion?
This is a repeat.
Repeat, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
repeat, same as every year. I meet with them every year. We go over all the details. We talk with DPW. We talk with everyone as well, make sure everything is up to speed, making sure our fields are not going to be damaged, whether it's through stakes or vehicles being driven on the field. So I met with them once already. I know it's got to go to the department review team to get approved, as well as typically in April where they sign off on it as well. But this year it is also matched up with the fireworks. Last year we had separate days, so this year it's back on the same day as the Friends Reading Recreation fireworks, which is great. So hopefully everyone can make it. It's a good time. Last year there was a ton of people at the fireworks. I didn't get the chance to go to the town day, but I heard that was pretty well attended, and hopefully this year it will not be as windy. Last year it was pretty windy.
2 years ago, it was too.
Yeah, so
Move to accept.
Second it? All in favor?
Michael Knight.
Laura Noonan, I.
Kate Kamener, I.
Eric Bamer, aye.
Rich Hand, aye. Motion is approved. You
I can take
can
that.
take that. All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, next on our agenda is discussion and vote for temporary lights for the springtime 2025 at the Coolidge Middle School and Reading United Soccer Club. And I think, Pete, we're going to turn the floor over to you, to talk a little about it. So take it away.
Thank you very much. Pete Comendores, with the United Soccer Club. We're asked for a repeat request of our outdoor portable lights for the spring season at Coolidge. We're putting them up for the season by April, beginning of season through the end of May. The objective here is to maximize the amount of field space we can use past the Coolidge Field. We've had 3 seasons with them.
Yeah.
So I just want to request it again.
What's the cutoff time at the end? Is it 10 or 9 or
10 o'clock across the board, lights are out.
do they practice that late?
Not usually, no. No, we'll probably go as late as 9:30 at the latest.
Didn't you get new equipment last year? I seem to remember. So 2 years.
Just rental equipment, yes.
Just rental.
Yeah.
And Pete, what type of lighting do you use?
We're gonna be, our preference is solar powered.
Okay, solar power, okay.
When you say your preference is solar powered, does that mean that you don't know for sure whether or not that's what you're going to get?
Likely gonna get solar powered. We rent them from a utility company. So Sunbelt, so we'll be, they know we want them, so that's what our positioning is for. Solar powered.
Just out of curiosity, are they more expensive than
They are.
Yes, I thought.
Yeah.
But they're nicer.
They're much nicer.
And they're quiet.
Bit quieter too. Yeah.
Is that, you guys play daily?
Excuse me?
Is it every day?
Just a little permanent those times.
I seem to remember last year, the residences that bordered, the only reason I know it is our tax accountant is up, and then she was here at the meeting. Did you alert them at all, or did you?
Yeah, so letters were sent out.
Okay.
Last week we sent it out. We did get one response via email from 100 Forest Street, Laura Ryan, which I think everyone either saw in an email as well. And
Speaking of which.
the 2 points she mentioned was that she was hoping they are solar. There has been diesel in the past, and she does state in the letter that they have smelled the diesel fumes coming off of there before. And then the second thing was last year, there was issues with the solar power lights not working properly, so they had to be moved by DPW. They moved them over to the parking lot area where they could be serviced by the Sunbelt truck. And it's a heavy battery they have there, so we had to move them over there. And then when they were getting moved back, they were placed closer to Coolidge, so there was 2 lights facing out towards Forest Street and the woods. I think it was for the last 2 weeks that they were set up that way. And I did talk with youth soccer. There was a week left when I did notice that. They did point out in this letter that when they were set up that way, it was shining into their house, and they want to make sure that they will not be shining that way this year.
Yeah, won't be a problem.
So all lights will face towards the Schoolage Coolidge, Coolidge, good nickname.
And I,
It's a good one.
In terms of, I know last time when they had the repairs, they faced back towards the woods, you know, that was the last couple of weeks. What we'll do is we'll put them up against the forest, face the school. If we need to maximize light, we put them in the goalposts facing each other, but we'll be facing the neighborhood.
And then I know that field is getting lined for lacrosse in the upcoming weeks. I know the athletic director did reach out, just making sure that it is far enough off of the field and the playing field so that it won't be an issue, and it'll probably be beneficial to you to keep it away from lacrosse balls getting thrown at those as well.
Yeah.
And the only other question I do have, if it isn't solar, just out of respect to the neighbor, if it is gonna be gas, I'm not sure if we should take a look at this again and have a vote on that. I don't know if we're voting based off of solar only tonight, or if they cannot get solar. I would hate for it to be a surprise to these neighbors who have reached out that there's 4 gas ones there. So I don't know how we want to approach that.
We can firm up with our provider this week. I'll let you know, Jimmy.
Okay, so I mean, tonight, I don't know if the vote is specifically on solar.
I mean, when are they supposed to be put out?
Be going out the first week of April, so beginning of the soccer season.
And Pete, do you have a commitment yet from,
We're just waiting for final commitment here to commit to the Sunbelt people.
okay, but they haven't committed to you, like they have one in reserve or anything for you?
They said they have one at this point.
Yeah,
That was, if somebody else came along and said, here's the check, here's the deposit,
right,
you know, we want to get first official confirmation. first.
okay.
So I mean, we could vote on solar, and if for some reason that does change, we could hold another special rec meeting like we did, you know, last week, a quick one to revote based off it being diesel or gas.
Well, I'd like to avoid a second meeting for that. Like, maybe we can structure a provisional vote here that, you know, if A or B or whatever. I mean,
Mhm.
I trust that Pete will work as best he can to get the solar. And if he can't, I don't think I want to say no to the gas because there's precedent that we've already had it there. Maybe we can communicate that to the neighbor, that every effort is being made for the solar.
And frankly, the gas is much more pain for us to have to fill up and whatnot.
Right.
So it's not, there's no incentive for us to really go out there and
Right.
have that.
I'm fine with
That's-
it.
And in the letter, it seemed like their biggest concern was really the light shining in their house, not,
Yeah.
they didn't like the smell, but.
Yeah, I mean, we all
with the
understand
Lord in the
that.
Direction.
Mhm.
I did notice her last sentence was, we have a problem. And I was like, I just said to
Unless-
Kate, I was like, no, I think she meant to put, we don't have a or do not have a.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else caught that.
I mean, the last sentence, I mean, we can read it. It's
I know,
public
I know.
information. Read
I got it.
Unless they are solar powered and shining only towards the school, we have a problem.
Right,
So you think you might know this week?
This week, yes.
So
So, and the other thing about the head shining, you know, those are directional somewhat, so you can. I don't know how much you can point them properly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's just a lift straight up, Pete, or if if you can manually adjust those so that they are coming down. But I mean, I don't think that's the issue with the
Right,
light
yeah.
shining. I think it's more, they're not solar.
Right.
And
It's
the-
just,
If Sunbelt doesn't have the solar, have you reached out to maybe United Rentals or somebody else?
Yeah, I know they've reached out to a couple different providers that we've used in the past.
if we lock you into solar only, is that really a
Um,
tough one for you?
It is in the remote chance that we can have all 4. The intent here is to have maximized lights, limited field.
Mhm.
That's really our intent.
Yep.
here.
If they didn't have all 4 solar, could you get like, if they only had like 2, or if they only had 3, could you get as many as you could solar?
Absolutely. If we had, let's say, only 3 solar and 1 gas, we'd absolutely go for that. Yeah. Our intent is to maximize the solar number.
and if we were to do that, we could obviously have the one that is gas further away from Forest
Yep.
Street.
yep,
And again, this is an expense that the club is bearing on its own.
Right.
We've had extra expense the past couple of years, like the extra expense for this, moving from porta potties to now ADA compliance, we've had some increased expenses. And I think these will be every accommodation to make those work.
mhm,
And it does take a lot of pressure off of me as far as field space, because as you all know, and I think I say it every time you come here, is we don't have enough field space.
Right.
I say we allow it and let these two figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, you understand the intention of the committee.
And how many nights a week is it?
I think it was 5 nights,
Thank you there, 5.
Weeknights then.
weeknights, yes.
Right, so we need a,
Is anybody anybody on the Zoom call? Any comments? All right, can we have a motion?
I would move that we approve. Prove it with solar being first choice and mixture being second choice
Mhm.
and all gas is third.
Second.
Eric, you second? Okay. So let's do a vote. All in favor?
I want to add
Oh, go
that
ahead.
they should be, you should try and point them away from the house.
Okay, yeah.
Aye.
I,
Kate Cameron, I.
Eric Bamber.
Rich Hand, aye. All right, motion approved.
We're good.
Just keep us informed. and-
Nothing between us this week here, absolutely.
Yeah.
keep you in the loop. Good luck.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you once again. Pete.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Pete.
Welcome, Daddy, daughter, Dan as well.
Yeah.
Daddy, daughter dance is what,
It's
Friday?
Friday night, yeah, we have about 120 families signed up so far, so.
The Friends of Reading Recreation. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's probably 250.
Shaker, you.
50 plus.
The fireworks go out June 14th.
Yeah,
Where's that?
it's down request.
The what's now, the,
Dance.
Dance.
at the field house.
We kind of amplify something, but there's.
They put that
That'll be coming soon, very soon.
All
All right, guys, take care. Thank you.
And then they just have running space on the court, the rest of it's insanity. I've gone the last like 2-3 years with my daughter. It's
Yeah, we used to be at
It's
Coolidge.
bananas.
We had to move it out of Coolidge. I think it was right before I started here because
yeah.
they had to turn away like 100 folks and then last minute they shifted to get into the field house and they were able to accommodate it. So,
What's the age range?
Elementary school, right? Isn't it just?
I mean, you
K through
probably
five?
got, I'm not sure. I think it's open for anyone, to be
Really?
honest with you.
I think it's
I could be
generally
wrong.
K-5. It's like,
Yeah.
it's the majority of it's like K-3,
Yeah,
but
nice,
you do get some of the older girls in there.
cool. It's great.
All right, thank you. So next on our agenda here is the Birch Meadow Phase 2 in pickleball.
Yes, so we are gonna start with Birch Meadow
Okay.
Phase 2. We had the public forum that was February 25th. We held it over here at the Town Hall Conference Room. I want to say we had about 6 neighbors that did attend. It was myself, Ryan Percival, Jenna was on Zoom, and then we also had Steve from Activitas, who's the architectural design consultant there as well. And we got a lot of good questions as well. I'm actually going to kind of show what was presented and kind of go over the main points and there was really 3 big takeaways that night that the neighbors spoke to us about. So I'm going to share my screen. Kevin, you're probably already laughing. I don't even have to look up. I've gotten so much better at this.
Uh,
So happy for you.
Appreciate it. Look at that.
Wow, instant.
Here we go. I wish I could make it bigger. All right, so this is a presentation that was there. Oh, why did it go blank? There we go. All right, so we're back. And I know Melissa Pucci, she was in attendance. She sat and listened, which was nice as well. She showed up. All right, so this is what they presented. This was just the intros and the agenda, one of introductions, the existing condition photos you'll see, proposed site plan, playground equipment review, and then the next steps. And then we opened it up to questions to the public. And we were probably there for about an hour answering questions. And it was recorded. So if you have a chance, I would recommend jumping on RCTV's YouTube channel and just search for February 25th. It's under Birch Meadow Phase 2 Public Forum. These are some of the existing conditions over at Birch Meadow, and this is the approximate project site. So if you look at it, this is down on Bancroft Ave. We have the tot lot that you will see on the west side. It rolls into the 1 basketball court as well as the 4 pickleball courts that have been put on there on the pavement. And then there is the Rise Playground that's part of this. It's just a resurfacing of that. This is being paid by the school, but it's coming directly from us for cost savings. It's going on in the same place. I think the allocation was $140,000 for that. So that's coming back to the town, but they've matched up these projects just for the cost savings as well. This is the current existing photos that are in there right now. Pathways are gonna be updated. Basketball courts will be updated. The pickleball courts will become basketball courts. The tot lot is getting a complete redo as well. There's gonna be some renderings that you're gonna see that'll give you a pretty good idea of what it's gonna look like. This has been going on for a long time. There's been many different renderings that have happened. I actually got some updated ones this morning that I'll be sharing at the end based on some of the feedback and the comments that we received from the public. Just some more photos of the current conditions. It is showing some of the baseball field. We're not really touching anything on the baseball field other than adding a concrete pad that sits behind the backstop area in the dugouts that helps from a lot of the eroding of the grass that ends up getting chewed up, and it just tightens up the entire area. And it's common on any new fields that we do, including Barrows that we're gonna be working on in the upcoming months. They'll be doing the same thing as well. Site plan, the design process, this kind of walks you through the beginning stages. This probably goes all the way back into 2007 when Birch Meadow Master Plan started. And that started on my first go around here, looking at the entire space, and then it was broken down into Birch Meadow Phase 1, 2, and potentially Phase 3 as well. Bottom left, where it's kind of the small writing, it kind of talks about the most desired improvements that were done during all the studies. One was upgraded new lighting. That was very high. That was 80% of folks wanted that. Restrooms, we completed that with the Birch Meadow Phase 1 and the new pavilion. Passive recreation was another top one with paths and trails kind of connecting the entire area. New synthetic turf field was on there as well too. That ended up, I think, being turf 2 when we updated that one. And then multi-purpose court rounded off the top 5 things that the public wanted to see happen down here. And I think these surveys happened in 2014, 17, and 19. This is kind of just an overview as well. It shows a little bit more of what we're working on. If you're looking at it right now, you see 2 basketball courts that are up by the Hawks Field House. Those are no longer. You see the 8 pickleball courts as well. Those are no longer there as well. Those are the 2 multi-purpose. So this is probably going back almost 6-7 years ago. And then whether it's through meetings, public forums, things have shifted.
Is there anything on those basketball courts?
There is nothing there. So underneath that area, what they found out, there was a lot of stormwater
Yeah.
and things like that, that they couldn't really disturb or disrupt that land. So there was nothing there, and they used that site basically for archery for the gym class during the school year. So this was probably last year's rendering. This kind of shows where we thought we were gonna be. What has changed is that parking lot. That parking lot right now was extended to include, I think, 10 more spaces. After running numbers and getting a cost evaluation on what it would cost per parking spot, to add in 10 more parking spots, it would have brought the cost up $500,000. So it's basically $50,000 per parking spot because of what's underneath there.
It's like that
Yeah.
bang.
So that was removed. If I had the plans that showed the stormwater and the drainage underneath there, it is a maze of things that I couldn't explain to you. If you guys want, I can bring an engineer and he can talk to you in details.
Please don't.
It's very informative.
It's
I still wouldn't understand it fully. The basketball courts they were showing there are a little bigger than where we are right now. And then on Bancroft Ave, you're seeing new parking spots. They're in that gray area that sits in between 2 trees. That was a big topic of discussion at public forum. We've heard a lot of things that parking is an issue down there when there's tennis going on, whether it's a high school team, whether there's varsity baseball games going on. Little league parking is an issue there. People are kind of whipping down that street as well. We have added in stop signs already. This happened about a year ago. There is a 3-way stop sign that has slowed folks down. Has it fixed the problem completely? No. People will still roll through those signs. There was talk about possibly adding a little speed bump, but that opens up the door for a few other things, and I'm not sure we'd be able to get one in there after talking with the engineers. So right now there is a crosswalk that is there. It probably does need to be repainted as well, and I believe there would have to be a curb cut put in right across from where you can see that crosswalk below. In the meeting, the neighbors, a few of the neighbors were very outspoken, saying parking really isn't an issue. It's a people issue. We have signage down there right now that no buses are allowed down there. A lot of the times the high school sports teams They'll come down there, they'll put in Morton Field, even though the athletic director will send out an email. He'll put me on these emails saying, please park at the field house parking lot and watch. Bus drivers may not see it and they end up coming down here. And then once they go straight down there and drop off, they need to back all the way up. And it's an active area with kids and whether it's the playground or tennis as well. So the neighbors are trying to get away from that, which I do not blame them. There is street signs on the left side as well. Issues in the past where people for the ball games were parking over on the residential side of this area as well. So there are signs there that says no parking. We do try to get the police department down there in the early spring to check it out. And if they do see cars, they have gotten on their microphones and asked that they do move their cars or they will be towed. So we'll probably try to do that again. It's more just getting the language out and honestly having people follow basic signage. So as I said, parking, they said wasn't an issue and they were afraid that bringing more parking was going to bring in more congestion, and putting parking next to that playground so close to where kids are. The playground will be fenced in, but if a kid does get out, they're afraid of cars coming in there and potentially hitting a child.
Where's the entrance exit to the playground?
So it's showing it right now. It's a little, where that crosswalk is, where that stop sign is. There's one there and there's also one that's on the top.
Oh, I
You can
see.
kind of see the,
Yeah.
see the path over.
Yeah.
My little pointer.
Yeah.
So right here as well as right here. Again, the rendering has changed a little bit from this as we go through.
That's where the actual gates will be.
Yeah, so basically the playground, it's still gonna be an egg shape. There's a pathway showing going through right here that's already been removed. So this was a rendering, I wanna say from about a year and a half ago, but as we go through, you'll see it kind of starting to change a little bit. So here was another updated one. This was done prior to our public forum meeting. The parking spots are still there. We did get rid of that pathway that was running down the middle of the playground. The basketball courts, if I go back, if you're looking at the courts right now, they've shrunk down a little bit, and we did that to get it a little bit away from the conservation land, which is on the south side of those courts. So there's a little bit of a buffer between conservation. So we did shrink down the courts a little bit, and conservation was happy with that.
So is parking in or out then? Is that out?
We're getting there. So parking is going to be cut.
Okay,
Parking is going to come out. In this picture right here, you can see one handicap parking spot right here, accessible parking lot. Those two will still be put in. They're gonna get moved up to over in this area. You're gonna see it on the most up-to-date renderings that I did get today. And this whole area is almost gonna be like green space, and you're gonna see that that's gonna be replaced by a lot of shrubs. And I look at them as kind of barriers to slow kids down as well too, if they do come out of the gated playground. This is showing lights as well, and these are post-tension concrete. It's been a big hot topic with pickleball about post-tension concrete. What that is, I mean, Giuseppe probably knows a little bit more about it. There's steel bars that are put in this concrete, and it allows the court to move kind of as one. So if there's imperfections underneath the soil and things do shift, you're not just getting one area that fails. It'll slope itself a little bit down, and there's little remedies you can actually do to help fix it. And the lifespan on a post-tension concrete is minimum 25 years up to 50 years. Asphalt, the asphalt they're using now, sometimes will start cracking in as little as 6 months to 2 years. So it costs a little bit more.
You're paying for it though.
Yeah, you're definitely paying for it, but when you break down the cost savings,
Yeah.
it's not a huge number. Because if we're paying, like, off courts, we're paying $74,000 to get the surface for a second time.
Right.
Over the period of, how many years, Kate? Going on 17? 2007?
2007,
So 17, 18 years, and we've done it twice, and I think we've been very fortunate with those
right?
courts, so.
Wow.
Playground equipment and kind of precedence. We're still finalizing what we're looking for. I want to go with a more natural feel. I know you're looking at this one right now, it's wood. It's a certain style of wood that is extremely durable. It's treated in a way that it's going to last a very, very long time. I think keeping it more naturally looking is what a lot of these other playgrounds are going to, opposed to the next slide, where it's your kind of standard and it's a little bit outdated. One of the big requests we've gotten from a few of the neighbors that live in that area, utilizes playground, is they want swings. Right now, I think there's a total of 4 swings. Is it 4 or is it 2? there's two toddler swings and then there's two regular swings. I'm not sure if there's an accessible swing down there right now, but the plan that we're looking for is to get a minimum of 6 swings down there. One is accessible and 2 toddler swings, and then I think it's 3 regular style swings. So there used to be a lot more swings down there and they were removed. I think one of the apparatuses was damaged and it was replaced with a swinging apparatus. And I know some of the folks that utilized it said we need more swings. So playground equipment is going to be for ages 2 to 12. Right now it's set up more as a tot lot, which is ages 2 to 5. A few folks brought up the fact that we're mixing 2 to 5-year-olds with older kids. Don't think it's a good idea, but then there was a number of neighbors. And I kind of had the same feeling is that if you have a 2-year-old, eventually they're going to be 6, 7, and 8, and you're living in that area, they can grow up with this playground. The playground would be set up so that the smaller equipment is off, like I think this drawing on the right. If you look at the left side, that's for like the 2 to 5, and on the right side, they've got pictures. None of this equipment is set in stone yet. They got one of those cargo climbing nets, higher slides and climbing devices. This is not at a school, so we don't have to have a specific age group. It's at a park that can be utilized by anybody. So I think Wilmington just built one. It's right off of Cross Street. It's ages 2 to 12 as well, and it's really nice. It's a lot bigger than this, but it's a very similar concept. And the folks who were at the meeting were all on board with the 2 to 12 minus. There was one person that kind of questioned it, but hearing the feedback from the others was kind of on board.
It's a good idea, because even when you go as a family,
Yep.
you have older kids and then the kids like
The old.
nothing to do. Yeah. Can you go back?
Yep.
Just so I noticed the surface is
Surface, that's what I was
clean.
gonna mention. So the surface is going to be pour and play. So it's a hard rubber. It's not tire mulch. It's not wood mulch. It's a hard permeable rubber.
One piece or not
It's-
mulch?
It's one piece.
Yeah.
Yep. It's one piece. It's a hard rubber. I mean, it does tend to get damaged sometimes if a kid was going there with a bike and they drop it and the handles have metal exposing, it could put a small little dent in it and the kids will pick at it. But there will be a warranty on it, and then we can set aside funds to do patching. So it'll be a fully accessible playground.
That's important to a lot of people to not have the mulch.
100%.
Yeah.
Agree with you. So the schedule that they have, so we do have to go to conservation. That's gonna be planned. I think there's 2 meetings throughout March and April. CPDC is gonna approve it as well. Construction documentation, looks like they abbreviated that, will be done during April through May. Project bidding will go out May through June. Bids will come in probably end of June, and we hope to start this project on July 7th. My plan is to get out there at some point this week as well, get a picture of the most up-to-date renderings, which I'm going to show you once we get through this. We've had the town set up a kind of info page specifically on Birch Meadow Phase 2. I have a QR code as well. I'm going to put a sign up at the playground letting them know what's happening, when construction is scheduled, and there's still time to provide some feedback. So they can scan the QR code. It's got a link to the town page, and on that town page it says for questions or recommendations, please reach out to Jim Sullivan.
When we doing the tennis courts again?
Tennis courts are going to be resurfaced August 28th to September 12th, weather permitting during that window. We did speak with Activitas, our consultant, and we need to make sure that when there's construction going on over on the basketball courts or the playgrounds and tennis comes and they're looking to paint these, that there's going to be, dust control, or they're not doing anything that's going to stir up any dirt that's going to blow onto these courts and then have an effect with surface. And then another wrinkle potentially is there could be some staging going up over by the ball fields. So if you look at this, you can kind of see it right here, this area. This is what we're looking to do as far as the staging with the materials to utilize this spot. And we are trying to hopefully give some respite to this area and try to keep the trucks coming in over through the school. For the last year and a half or so, they've had trucks coming up and down working on Birch Meadow Phase 1. So during Phase 2, we're going to do our best to try to keep stuff away from their neighborhood.
Are the basketball courts lit?
Basketball courts are calling for 2 lights right now, and hopefully the funds will be there that we can get that done. I'm gonna now just go to.
And that's enough light for the 2 courts?
Yep.
Oh.
Let me go to the most recent renderings. There we go. I was doing so well, Kevin. All right, I'm gonna stop share for a second and then we're gonna share my next one to show you the most up-to-date renderings as of today. Share. So this is the most up-to-date rendering. Almost looks like a new area when you look at that parking going away and the amount of green space that is there and the trees. Like I said, there was three big issues. One was parking. Number two was wayfinding signage, which I think is important, you know, letting them know where the restrooms are, where the ball field is, where the basketball courts are, where the lighted softball fields are, especially if we're trying to direct people to park over at the high school. So we will have a wayfinding signage program as well, so that all signs look consistent. And what I'm gonna do with that is, when we're doing that, we're gonna get signage that will be put up at the tennis court as well. It's got a lot of old signs with the rules and regulations on that as well. So we wanna have it all cohesive all the way across the entire Birch Meadow area. So that'll be a big part. And then the third one was just having shade down there. The fact that we're getting rid of the black rubber mulch, it's gonna definitely make that playground less unbearable during the hot summer months. So there is money in this for trees and shading. We don't have any large shading devices. Sometimes you'll see playgrounds that will have those big fabric tension nets that come up and that's not something we're looking for right now. It can be expensive, and then there's the maintenance of it too, getting it up, getting it down, wind damage, snow damage if you don't take it down as well too. But this is the most current plan right now, and you can see the two handicap or the accessible spots right here, which I think is a great location. As you see, there's a little pathway that leads right into it to get you in there. There'll be an opening over here, and then there'll be an opening over here as well to access this area. You can almost see the big swings. The swings do take up a huge spot of this playground, but they will be the most utilized feature in that playground. Staging, like I said, is probably going to be in this area. We're going to be mindful when we do put up our fences that there is going to be access to the ball field. You can kind of see this concrete pad that's going to be sitting behind this ball field as well too, which will kind of tie it all together. But I think it flows nice. I look at where we started and where we are. I think it meshes very well with this, and then we get these courts redone. It's going to be a nice little park. So we've done a nice job chipping away at it. I think we still got a little bit ways to go, but we're in a good spot. Again, July 7th is when we're looking to start. Completion of this project, we're hoping for November.
Wow.
Any questions on this?
How are the neighbors? Again, you said the neighbors are very supportive of this in terms of.
Yeah, they're supportive. They've said a number of times they just want their voices heard, which I completely respect. I'm trying to make sure that we are over communicating when we can, trying to take their ideas. It was one of the neighbors' ideas to put up a sign. I think it's a great idea. If someone utilizes this playground and they're there in the spring and they show up in July and it's gone, I'd feel pretty bad if someone wrote down here as well too. So I think that's a great idea. And then getting this page up on the town website, putting it up on Facebook. We have a really active team that helps push out any public information through the Town of Reading website as well too. So trying to notify as many people of this project as we can, so there's no surprises. But I mean, there should be a relatively, knock on wood, easy project to get through.
Thanks.
Any other questions on it?
No, but thank you for sharing. Yeah.
job,
I-
Ken.
Good.
Yeah.
Sure, I
Good
left
work.
something out. It's been a busy week.
Yeah,
Michael can attest to that as well.
all right.
On to our next subject, and there's not a ton of updates. Michael can jump in as
Okay.
well. I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen just so people can see us. So pickleball updates. I don't know if anyone saw the select board meeting last Tuesday. Joel Bargman from BH+A presented the pickleball project to the select board. He went over kind of where we started, how we got to where we were, and the number that came out was $1.89 million for 7 pickleball courts that were lighted with pathways in there. It included amenities like benches as well. I was on select board via Zoom. I listened, I watched, didn't have to speak. But it was clear that that number needs to come down.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? Why do I have an 800K number in my head? Did we throw that out at one of our previous meetings?
I'm trying to figure out where that number came from as well too, because I think the select board, that's where they were kind of on the impression as well too, right, Michael, that 800 to 1 million was kind of the ballpark. I don't know if it was based off of what other towns have
Yes.
done.
Yeah,
I
That's
think
right.
that was in one of our
no,
meetings.
yeah, it was.
It was definitely, because like, while I've been a member,
Yep.
I remember that.
So the 800 to 1 million comes from looking at peer communities around having done construction of pickleball courts or other things. And looking at what those projects cost.
Okay, it was off of
In
other,
fact, so, and we did a spreadsheet that we shared with Jim about all these other projects, and they're a lot lower than 1.89 million. And some of the places have built 5 tennis courts, 4 pickleball courts, 3 basketball courts for less than that. So we have a disconnect at the moment.
Yeah.
Jim is working on it. And so,
Yeah, there's a number, there's so many factors that do go into it. And right now what we're doing, which is probably what you're gonna ask, like there's hard costs and there's soft costs, there's contingencies that are built into all of these plans. Right now, we've gone back to Joel, who's the one who presented to the select board with BH+A to ask for those specific numbers, like what's in the $1.5 million worth of hard costs. We want to see kind of all those numbers and how we got to this number. Different factors that come into play. We're building in an area that has lots of trees. We're building in an area that has a lot of growth, or I think they call it forest mat, where soil does need to be removed as well too. We are looking at post-tension concrete. And I've said this in a number of meetings, I'd have a hard time supporting this if we were to just do asphalt. I want to say, I don't want to throw out too many numbers right now because Joel is still working on them. I think the difference between if we were to do post-tension or the standard asphalt, I think it was $290,000 difference for those courts. So if you spread that out over getting 25 to 50 years, and then you think of the potential that we're putting these courts on an area that's next to wetlands as well, where the soil may not be as stable. I'd have an anxiety attack every year when we had snow melt, going out there looking and seeing if we had our first crack or not.
Do we know that this, what's it called, post-tension?
Post-tension concrete.
Do we know that it could survive those conditions you just
Yeah,
talked
so
about?
basically post-tension is what they build parking
Parking garages.
Oh, okay.
that are constantly shifting.
Got it.
As
Okay.
well too, so.
I mean, and some of the other peer projects in the other towns have used post-tension concrete. It's not
Okay,
an unknown construction.
but are what we comparing to other towns, are the other towns refurbishing existing?
It's a mix of
Converting
some are-
existing, or is it
Mix of
construction?
And some of it is, you know,
I think there's a lot of-
they scrape up everything that's there.
Right,
Which is sort of like removing the
Mhm.
forest mat. But
it
it's not the
sounds like
same.
you've got some significant infrastructure cost, I mean,
There's some, and
the
there's,
unseen,
yeah, there's certainly. And
before you get to the build.
contingency is the worst thing you can do is go to town meeting and underbid a project and then the cost comes back
Right.
higher.
Right,
Because then you don't have enough to
What
complete the
percent of
project.
contingency are they putting in?
I think right now it's at 10%.
But, wait, is it, you know, I haven't seen any of the breakdown of the hard costs or
And we were only,
the soft costs,
we were only doing
kind of ridiculous.
the land, correct? That, when that all went down on our vote was mostly, here's the land. Correct?
That's what we voted on.
Yeah, that's what we voted, but
To designate.
designated, so it's kind of. So are we gonna come back with a recommendation to them or whatever, or?
I think we need to wait till we get these hard cost
Yeah.
numbers and look at it. We met yesterday, myself and Jane Wellman, Ryan and Jenna, were both out yesterday. We filled Ryan in today, but we met with RPPA. I think there was 7 in there and they kind of laid out some different things as far as numbers and stuff like that. And I know at the select board meeting, I think it was Mark and Melissa actually asked to see those hard cost numbers as well, so.
Yeah.
Someone, Jack, do you mind just muting yourself? So we reached out to Joel today to ask him all of these questions and find out where all these hard cost numbers are. I believe the select board is looking for us to go back, with kind of a revised plan when these numbers do get posted and we're informed. But our goal, I think right now is to get this project, you know,
Is
where,
this the low bid?
what's that?
No,
So we haven't looked at the bid.
Budget.
This is
Okay.
estimated,
Proposed.
the cost estimates where they're going through their cost estimator right
Okay,
now.
I
okay.
thought the exact same thing. And then
No.
I read the article again
Yeah,
and it was like, oh, no. That's why I was asking about like, okay,
So the
you
idea.
just said, here's the land. We didn't.
Yeah. Oh,
I
no,
hope it's not blowing back at us that we're like, no.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, good.
We just voted on the land and then there was a presentation to us about what it would look like. And I think that the figure might have been thrown
we're
out
still in,
I
that.
think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a comment that the pickleball community had been
At like
doing some fundraising at that point.
250,000,
Yeah,
200.
200, yeah.
Okay, and, you know, in the other pickleball news, this Sunday, we're having another community day event. Fundraising, it's been pretty successful. Almost everything's full, all the good spots are taken, but,
Mhm.
so we're raising money. It'll be over 200K once those
Excellent.
come in. But you know, the pickleball community looks at this 1.89 million number and says, this is not right. So that's,
Mhm.
we're not comfortable with that.
Feels double based on everything we've heard. which
Yeah.
is-
Right, so
That's
it's sort of like.
insane. If it was 20%
And,
more,
you know,
like, all right.
Saugus
Just
just
about.
built something massive. And it's, you know, I have pictures, it's beautiful. It was a much bigger project. It came in at 1.6 million. So if you
How many quarters?
double, that was the 5 tennis courts, 4 pickleball courts and 3 basketball courts. So this
Wow.
is like twice, more than twice the area.
and you gotta keep in mind, this is
And it's-
end price as well too. So this is after all the bids were done, you know, where they looked at, did they use their contingencies as well?
Right.
You know, how far over or below did these projects go? You know, we could go in there, and ask the town for 1.8, it could be, I think we need to be closer to the 1.5 number. We go out to bid and then, you know, the cost estimator was off on the fencing, they were off on the post tension, it was actually a shorter number, and then the completed project could land at 1.4.
You said
don't know.
they had 1.5 in hard cost, so that means 390,000 in soft,
What's that?
390,000 in soft cost?
like what?
160 for additional engineering and
Design.
architecture work. Which I
The
don't,
design of
that's
the
already
lot
done,
for-
and 150 in
A year's salary.
Contingency.
Seppi, I would recommend that you
Yeah.
jump on
like
like
40
YouTube and watch the presentation.
Yeah.
I don't wanna say the wrong
I
numbers.
read the same thing and I was like thinking, I was like, this can't be right. And I feel bad for, say, you or whoever else, like, you know. Well,
It can't be right. And that August included post-tension concrete for the tennis courts, not the pickleball courts or basketball courts, but and there shouldn't be that big a differential between asphalt and post-tension. It's I mean, there is a difference, but not 300K difference. This is a, you know, less than 15,000 square feet of surface.
Yeah.
It's not that much.
Right.
Yeah, so what I will say is,
Yeah,
we're gonna be
go
getting
back.
those hard costs
Yeah, 20,
broken down completely.
So the silver lining is you have the town, the 1.9 in everyone's head, so you're gonna be heroes when you come in at 1.2. Yeah, let's go.
And I know, Chris Haley, I know he was saying, you know, the number's gotta, you know, can't be higher than 1.5, and I know pickleball is, you know, they wanna push a project forward that they're comfortable with as well. They don't wanna just push it forward because they enjoy playing pickleball. They wanna do it responsibly as well too, which I appreciate that as well too, and they've been good help with giving input. I know they wanna see these hard numbers as well as Mark and Melissa on the select board, so we're hoping to get these hard numbers so that you can look at it.
I think 1.5 is even too high. I mean,
It is.
I mean,
It is
Right.
by piece.
talking $1,000 a square foot.
Right.
No, right, exactly. Okay,
With no plumbing.
So with this, it is including the lights, it is including all the conduit, it is including the drainage systems that are gotta go underneath the court as well. It's including all the tree removal, the soil removal as well, so.
But it does include a lot of stuff.
The boardwalk is not
The key
included.
is it shouldn't cost $1,000 a square.
No way.
Just.
No.
But we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet, there's no.
So
set
let's not
number.
panic. I'm ready to panic, but I want
No,
to.
right.
We're ready to
It's good. I told you, you're gonna be a hero when you come in late.
Go Colin.
And we're being mindful, I don't know if anyone's looked at kind of what's coming up on town meeting. You have the Killam School project, you have the Reading Center for Active Living, you have $3 million worth of money in the high school field house flooring that's going in as well. And then, you're looking at another.
That was done last meeting.
What's that?
That was done last meeting.
Yeah, I think the high school's already done.
That's
Yeah,
the last one. Was that in the
floor
fall?
was done last in the.
It got approved in the fall, that's right.
Well,
They did some,
it's-
but it's
yeah.
still in the,
It's allocated.
in there.
You know what the cost was for the phase two?
Phase two, right now, we have $2 million for that. That's already been.
No, yeah, I just was curious to see what the cost was.
2 million, and then pickleball right now is sitting at 1.89
3 times.
million.
That's what I just.
So.
I recommend everybody.
Just looking at the playground and the basketball courts is more than 7 pickleball courts.
Yeah. It's
By a lot.
It's just tough. We have looked at a lot of things. There's no apples and oranges to do any of that on, but most of the projects were on the order of pickleball. Just putting it down, come in at less than $80K a court.
Can we find?
I don't think we get
lights
that
that had-
information.
It's all public documents, so it's a challenge to go get it, because you have to go to the towns and find. And then there's different numbers, so sometimes it's bid, construction, what did they pay out? Others, it's what the town meeting approved, which are two different things.
When they were built, when they were
built,
approved.
and
Yeah.
Sounds like
Like if
site
you're converting
remediation.
courts, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
This is a
Sometimes it's-
significant
Right.
build.
I'm just wondering about the site remediation stuff, if that's one of the first things that they're saying.
That's probably.
right, so that could be, we don't know, but.
Until you get the
There's
breakdown.
math
too.
stuff that can be brought to the company, it's clean fill. It could actually stay at Simon's Way, 'cause there's lots of places where the fields are kind of low, and it'd be nice to.
And there's different cost savings. I know, in our meeting yesterday, it was what can DPW do to help out as well too? And if they are able to clear some of the soil, can they stockpile it and then DPW can take it and
Right.
bring it down to their compost as well? What those savings are, we've asked our architect and design firm with BH+A to give us those numbers, so we're waiting to get the hard costs. I know everyone.
They did a lot on the tennis court build,
Mhm.
DPW. They were
Yep.
great, like especially the infrastructure stuff with culverts and.
Could they remove
The
trees?
retaining wall, it was crazy.
Well, underneath those tennis courts, there's a lot of action going on and they were good too.
And that's the one good thing about this site, is that there's nothing underneath. And
Yeah, so that is,
So that's sort of,
yeah.
that should be a good thing,
Apparently.
not apparently. So,
It's a.
but anyway, I mean.
It is a starting point. The number is certainly higher than anyone has thought, and we're looking, and I know Jane Wellman said it a number of times to them, sharpen your pencils, go back, look at it, go back, look at it, and
And you
we do need to see these hard costs, and when they come out.
I just want to be
the
clear,
select Board.
I think pickleball is not behind this number. We think it's way too high, and that's not always obvious that
And that's-
we will work with.
We're on the
These
record.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's even things to look at too. They can do alternatives as well too. If we can't get that number down, which we don't want to do, we want to get 7 courts that are lit and do it all together. There are alternates we can put in there. If we were to go to the town saying, we want 1.5 to be all in. If it comes in and it's higher, we can pull, whether it's the lights potentially to be a second
You
phase.
guys can buy the lights.
or we pull another court. I think right now.
But
pulling a
200K is
court-
going to this project.
No, I understand, but if you frame it like, okay,
Because we gotta ask for the.
pickleball is gonna pay for the light, so the town's just.
The funding, you know, we're very happy to have made our 200K goal. That's without a project that's approved through town meeting. There's lots of funding opportunities once you have a project that's been approved. So we will continue to fundraise. Not that I'm
Yep.
anxious to do that anymore, but
There was costs that were put in there and it was brought up at the select board. There was $45,000 for, benches and trash receptacle. That's one that's gonna get taken out
Right.
and, benches, we could get benches donated. I can purchase benches a lot cheaper than that as well. So that's one of those items.
Sure, you
that
have- I'm
cost-
sure you have capital,
That
whatever.
can come right off that. And then we're looking
Are we
to,
buying them?
so, yeah, we got money in the revolving fund and then $100,000 that we do get in capital each year. We said we were gonna put it towards.
Benches, like you said, but then they
Put that-
put their name on them.
right, I think that there's lots of opportunities like that. In fact, for pickleball, you don't need necessarily the post. There's lots of sort of portable pickleball nets that are first class and great playing. There's plenty of opportunities. But those are savings that should be reflected in the price. So when you go down to 6 courts and it's 1.3 million, that's still not acceptable because you're only getting 6 courts. So you don't want to spend that much on one court.
Right,
Just, that's really where we have to go, oh yeah, we could take out the lights, but if you're gonna get 7 courts without lights for 1.4 million, that
Correct.
is a non-starter. It doesn't make
There's
any
gotta be a way
sense.
to value engineer whatever they put together,
Mhm.
right, to get this get your 7 courts lit for way after this price.
Don't look at it, avert your eyes.
I mean, one of our board members used to be a contractor and this is crazy.
right.
Crazy stuff. So the dollar figure per square foot should be,
Or even per court, like,
I mean, the post-tension concrete, you can get what's the estimate for the price for that, $150 or something. I don't want to quote any numbers because
Yeah.
I'm an engineer, not a construction guy. I don't know.
So those costs hopefully will become available so that we can see down
Yeah.
every dollar.
Did they give them a timeline and all that?
We reached out to them today. I know the select board, I think they have their next meeting next week. They're probably gonna be looking for updated numbers that are lower than
Yeah.
what was brought up, but
Would you be able to send those out once you get them?
I can do that for the recreation committee, yeah.
yeah,
Thanks.
I'm just curious now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jim hasn't seen all this stuff, so.
Right.
I'm
So
not holding anything back, believe me.
Right.
I'm not, I don't wanna speak and say the wrong.
There was no blowback or anything out of select board, was there? Or-
yes,
As far as,
Well, just us, just you and anybody.
no, it's just the number.
Just the sheer, just like us, just
Yeah.
as sheer what,
Yeah, what does it mean?
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
so everyone's asking for the complete breakdown, which today Jane Wellman sent an email out to them asking exactly for all those specifics so we can all wrap our heads around it. But I would recommend if you didn't watch the select board meeting to watch the presentation that Joel did. He kind of broke down where he was getting some of the costs. They are the big numbers. You're not gonna see what it costs for fences. You're not gonna see what it costs for the post-tension asphalt. You'll see some differences. And he's trying to break it down if we were to cut this, what the cost savings could be as well. So
And he's,
we're moving very fast.
he's been charged with it from the select board's standpoint. This is the person that'll come back with revised.
BH plus A, yeah. So BH plus A and Activitas are joint partners on this.
Okay.
So they're basically the firm that is working on Recal as well as pickleball as a combo. They have to work kind of both together.
It's making me question the cost of recalling.
I was gonna say, did we get a discount, you know?
There could be some potential
I would imagine no BH and plus A is working more on recal, not.
Activitas, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered and the select board feels exactly the same way that you feel, exactly the same way that our PPA feels. So there's gotta be some,
Kind of like one of those bids that the company really doesn't want to do it, but we'll throw out a high number if they say yes, okay.
But it's not a bid.
Yeah, I stand
So,
corrected.
you know, regardless of what number they come out with, this still has to go out for bid and it will probably come in
we would hope lower.
at reasonable numbers. That's what all the bids are.
Setting the parameter for town meeting.
Correct.
Right.
And regardless of how much we have with pickleball or
Right.
what rec is giving, you still need to go with that,
And like you said,
that full amount. You're gonna see that big number.
yeah, it's pole vault. Setting the bar high to sit there.
And there are some uncertainties with the economy and where it's going, whether, you know, the post-tension
Sure.
concrete and the steel and the fencing, like, is
Yeah.
that gonna go up or not? So I don't know if they're thinking, you know, we need to build in a larger cushion as well. But like I said, we don't wanna go to town meeting and get approved and then be like, oh, it really was 1.8, because when we do go out to bid, anyone can bid on this. So, I mean, anyone who knows anybody can send them to the town page. This is someone, but they gotta look at the project as a whole. You can't just bid pieces all together. You gotta look at the entire project as a whole.
Hmm.
So it does get a little bit tricky. You usually have a contractor and then they sub it out. You know more than me to folks that work directly under them.
Hmm.
And then there's markups from them as well. So once we get these numbers, they will be shared with the select board and I can share them with you so we can all wrap our heads around it. But if you want to get a head start and you're interested, check out last Tuesday's select board meeting where Joel Bargman from BH+A does present. And then you'll hear the comments that come from the select board and a lot of them are valid.
Mhm.
All right, well, thank you for the update.
Yes,
Mike, thanks for the
Thanks,
updates.
Mike.
Thanks for staying on top of it and thanks for looking at the numbers. You know, I agree with you in terms of like, this is the starting point. You're not happy with the number. You guys gotta work on it to get it better. And you said next week?
I mean, we're hoping for some
Next
updated
week.
numbers. I would assume that it's gonna be another topic that does
Okay.
get brought up, whether it's next week at the select board. I know
Okay.
they're putting the agenda together today. I don't know if it's on there or not, but I would say it's gonna be on there relatively soon before it gets finalized with the warrant and goes
Okay.
to town meeting, because this would be a 2/3 vote to pass.
Excellent. All right, any other discussion before we turn the microphone over to Ed to give us an update?
So I would.
Sure, go ahead.
One more, it's a question on pickleball. It was a beautiful day today. We were up at Memorial playing. Do you know when they're gonna
Nets,
nets?
so nets are starting. That is on my updates over
Oh.
here, Michael.
All right.
I've done that,
I got ahead.
Right.
All right.
on the top, lots going on, but I still got a little bit of remember to try to remember all this stuff. I'll jump into my updates right now.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
always the fun one and the
All right.
stuff, so.
Especially today.
Tennis nets, they're gonna begin putting them up this Friday. They're gonna start with Bancroft. The high school tennis season starts on Monday. The high school season starts on Monday, so they're gonna be getting the tennis nets up for the tryouts to begin next Monday. So they'll start over at Bancroft. Then I would assume that they're probably gonna go to Memorial Park, Sturgis, and then Washington as well. I think those are all our tennis courts. And Barrows, will probably put them up at Barrows. Barrows isn't in the best shape right now. So those will be going up. Barrows Elementary, I know we talked about the fencing. Kind of got a curveball thrown to us yesterday. The project manager from Premier Fence resigned. So we're back at kind of square one with just trying to get on a timeline. Our plan was to get the fencing and the dugout done at Barrows, starting probably as early as next week and be completed by mid-April, so it does not affect the Little League season and their games that start on April 26th. So we're hoping to hear from them by tomorrow to meet their new project manager and set up a timeline to get that rolling so it won't disrupt the season. Staying on baseball, passed over all the information on the gifts we accepted from Reading Little League. I know they're looking to start that project relatively soon, and that's the Hunt Snack Shack renovation project. So you might see that happening in the upcoming weeks. It should be done relatively quickly. Going to girls softball, I met with Reading Youth Softball on Friday, probably the windiest day I've ever been a part of in Reading. They came to us looking to see if we'd have an appetite to look at fixing the fence over at the lighted softball field, as well as providing some much needed dugouts over on that softball field. Reading Youth Softball is looking to pay for this project as well. They reached out to the Northern Essex Spoke, who they have a big don't know if it's an architect or construction, program in the school, and they've built a number of these dugouts. I think they might have built the one over at Major League Field. They just did one in North Reading, and they're beautiful dugouts. So youth softball is proposing to pay for the materials and have the folks work on this project. It's not gonna happen early this spring. It would probably be in the fall. There's a lot of steps we have to go through conservation. Again, we'd have to get the gift, but I think we're pretty fortunate to have these youth organizations that have good relationships with us. Like we try to do a lot as the rec department to help maintain their fields as best as we can. With baseball, you know, we redid 2 fields in the past year, so I think they see us putting in the work, so they're more willing to give back money to the community. So I think our department's done a great job building up that relationship, so we do like to get free money. I know the town does like to get some free money, so we can get it.
build pickleball courts.
I mean, yeah, we gotta find a
Pickleball. Hey, Larry Early, just
Curious, you just.
basketball, right? He's more.
Oh, yeah, right, no.
I did see him this weekend at the basketball tournament, actually. So that's something just to keep our eye on down the future.
Can I ask one question on that?
Yeah.
Softball. Will that affect phase 3 of?
So phase 3, the big concern, I spoke with the engineers, I spoke with Jenna, was making sure that if we were to put in new dugouts, it wouldn't have any impacts on the current field where it's located, as well as the light poles. If you look at I don't know if you've been there before, and you look at the way the fence is set up and where the dugouts are,
Many times.
they're not in the right place.
No.
So the plan would be to, I think softball is looking to get a price to replace the backstop. If it is too expensive, the plan would be to run some new fencing off of that backstop and actually have it angled so that it's parallel to where the third baseline is, meaning, because right now
Yeah,
it's so far.
it drops down there to
Yeah,
the
it's
right.
shifted off, and the benches almost sit behind home plate, and there is a light pole that sits in front of one of the benches.
Yeah.
So the dugouts would actually be moved up more in a traditional way where you'd see it on any regular ball field, and they would
Yeah.
run parallel off the first base and the third baseline, whether it's, 15 feet off all the way down. So it's definitely needed. I don't know how long phase 3 is gonna come.
No, I know, because this goes back to when Anna was playing, that this came up. And then also too, because it was became a question of the schools
Mhm.
because of, and I think we brought Tom Zai in on it
Mhm.
because high school.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's.
Tom was there on Friday with us.
Okay, so then.
Tom was there
also-
on Friday.
Do you know what I mean? Because he was like, this isn't technically our, and I was
Yep.
like.
So
okay.
he is all on board with it as well. Like I said, the earliest I think it would be done probably wouldn't be until the fall. We don't want to affect, the softball season, and we're just looking at plans, and then there's so many different steps we have to go through with conservation. There is some wetland that's located behind there. So we do got to make sure that we are being respectful of that, but the dugouts actually and the fence would actually be moved a little bit further away from the wetlands with what we're doing. But we have no plans or anything yet. It's just kind of a starting point. So I'll keep you up throughout our meetings on that as well. Gonna get some new backboards over at Memorial Park as well. Was it Monday? Monday, the kids didn't have school. It was packed down there with kids playing basketball. We redid some backboards over at Sturgis Park, and they were a big hit. I don't want to say it's short money, but it's pretty good to get those nets and those backboards and those poles kind of upgraded. I think we can do one a year, and that's my plan. This would be our second in 2 years, so I did get a quote, same quote as last year for install and everything. I think it came a little over $6,000, so we're gonna hopefully get that started in the next couple weeks or so.
That's great.
Next week, me and Ed are going on vacation to the MRPA conference
All right.
in Norwood.
It's lovely.
Really not. PowerPoint Sheridan.
No, just
We'll be there.
swing by the auto dealership.
So we'll be there Wednesday morning. Ed and I are part of the social committee team that's down there.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
How do you guys?
Yeah, I like it.
Social committee, we bring
Next
fun.
up is.
And I actually was nominated this year for the Northeast Regional Rep for the Recreation Region. So I want to say it includes 40 towns. So a fellow member nominated me.
Nice.
Take on some more hours and do some.
I was just gonna say, is that a good nomination?
I didn't know if I wanted to do it to Ed. I'm like, I might be thinking myself. But the MRPA, it's a group of all the Massachusetts, it stands for Massachusetts Recreation and Parks Association. The Northeast region meets once a month. We share different ideas. We've been relying heavily on them with therapeutic rec and what they've been doing and adaptive recreation as well too. So we're expanding our reach and we don't need to reinvent the wheel on all this stuff. People have done it. They've gone through all the hard times. Like we tried this, it didn't work. Don't do this, do that. So it's a good group and there'll be a lot more conferences that I'll be going to. There's a New England Regional Conference and then there's a US conferences as well too. So I'm hoping, I think it's usually out in Vegas. So I have to go. But it'll be good for me.
One in Vegas.
It'll be good. I'll keep you posted if I get if I win. I don't know if it's contested or not. I don't think. So we'll pretend like it was heavily contested. They'll be doing that, but it is a good conference. There's a lot of sessions and I remember when I first started here too, it kind of opened my eyes. John brought me to these conferences. I'm doing that with Ed too, where he's going to he was in a conference today for new professionals and different ideas and the struggles of being a new professional in the field. There's different classes on budgeting, you know, how to deal with, you know, residents who aren't happy, how to become certified as a playground inspector. So we're out there doing classes from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. There's dinners. And then at night, you kind of let loose a little bit and you commingle and you meet with different vendors
Right.
that are out there as well too. And we bring in new programs as well too. So
It's awesome.
it's fun. So Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, we will be out there. I think that's all I have. Edward?
Yeah, so I guess since Sunday basketball and Neshoba and all our winter activities ended, kind of like January, February, kind of flipped my focus over to summer programs. That's pretty much majority of my time. And all those programs went out today live for registration. So if you got time, hop on our website, take a look at everything we have going on. You know, throughout the summer, we have tons of programs going on a weekly basis, you know, on top of our vacation program, that's obviously very popular. We do a ton of sports and STEM and art and all good stuff. You know, with the field house renovations, it's kind of made us get a little bit more creative with some of our basketball and other programs that are indoors, but facilities gave us a list of times that they allowed us to get into some other schools so that we can still offer, you know, those popular basketball programs and volleyballs, just a little bit different than the past, but happy to still offer those. We also kind of using the Matera cabin a little bit more this summer for some other stuff, as that's a cool location that we have. That's summer vacation. We've been doing interviews right now, hiring a handful of new staff. So we're in the middle of that process right now and kind of wrapping that up. You know, bring in some good younger folks to add to our, you know, great list of kids who are coming back. So excited about that. I think we have a really solid group for this summer. So that's definitely exciting. Working on bringing in, you know, the vendors and activities each week to summer vacation. So just working on that. Thursday, we have another intergenerational programs, Irish dancers coming. So it's exciting. Typically we have these intergenerational stuff at the Pleasant Street Center, but it's actually Jen's idea to move it over to Coolidge and give them a stage and a bigger space so that we actually have about 80 people signed up to attend on Thursday, which is, you know, 20-30 more people than we'd be able to have at the Pleasant Street Center. So that was exciting to see.
Yeah, nice.
You know, with the recal stuff in the conversation, I think again, it just kind of shows what more we can do with a space like that. And yeah, the MRPA stuff, I'm excited about that next week. Last year was kind of taking it in. It's a lot, but I'm excited to kind of go in with more specific goals, kind of, you know, been in this position for a year and a half and, you know, Reading and what else we can bring to town and offer to the community and learn this, those sessions and talk to other towns some more. So I'm excited for all of that, so.
With all that being said, jump on other town websites, look at their rec department, and then jump back on Reading and look at the amount of offerings that we currently have. It's pretty amazing the amount of work that we do for having, I'd say, somewhat of a small team. Other departments in towns, they are departments and they have 6 full-time staff that work for them. We have Jenna, who's overseeing 3 different, divisions. There's myself, Ed, and Sue, who's kind of got her hands in COA, Veteran Services, as well as us too. So for what we have, I think we do a tremendous job, and Ed does a great job with all these programs. And another tip of the cap, last year we had 35 counselors in our summer vacation program. This year we are returning 29 out of 35.
Wow.
It was 30 out of 35 as of yesterday. So the fact that we have such a high return rate kind of shows that these young kids really enjoy working with us. And I think Ed has already held probably close to 20 interviews for 5 to 6 positions. So we're pretty fortunate with having.
Is there an age out type situation? with-
So there's gonna be.
No, I'm just curious about
situation with
turnover.
Turnover
Yeah.
is, it's usually we usually hire them, the earliest we've done is going into their freshman year.
Yeah.
I wanna say 2 years ago, we hired a lot of sophomores, so they're gonna be going into college relatively soon and they're gonna get internships, so there will be some turnover. We do try to bring in some younger staff every year so we can catch them for 4 years. But at some point, there will be some turnover. This year, we really didn't push to advertise too much and we had 20+ applicants. Last year, I think we had 55 applicants as well too.
A little bit more. And, yeah, this year, like 50% of our staff are either going into college or currently in college, so. I mean, there is that thought in the back of our heads that, there might be another year where we do have to hire a larger number, but we'll take our staff this year for what we have and hopefully have.
Ed, will you allow each applicant an interview?
Yeah, I mean,
It's a lot.
yes.
We keep saying like at some point we need to.
Yeah, right.
Here we found ourselves.
Gotta weed it out
in a
and.
Situation where we were saying.
And that's the nice courtesy you give them.
Yes, yes, it is a lot of time.
Yeah,
But it's great, like I really enjoy like bringing the kids in, a lot of them, it is their first interview. And I think that is a unique thing to be able to, offer to them. But then again, there is only so much time in our
Right.
every week.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
we did most, I mean, I would say we probably interviewed 80%.
80%.
Nice.
This time around. We just only had such few spots to fill.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we had 4 spots to fill and we had 25 to 30 applicants and now we're down to 6. So when we lost a couple more, they actually brought in more and we kind of looked at it. We brought in, I think today we had 7 folks who were freshmen going into their freshman year and they came in and kind of blew us away a little bit, I'd say, today. So
Yeah.
it was good. And there was some that we didn't bring in, we do go through their applications. We look at it, we look at work experience as well too. When we bring in those that we think, have the experience to come in as well too. So we try to set a criteria as well when we pick and choose.
Great.
I had one more thing, but it is slipped. March, we had a really good March as far as numbers coming in, income. February, I'm sorry, February, we had a really good number. We beat last February by a decent amount. So I'm always watching the numbers and see how we're expanding as far as registration numbers coming in as well as income coming in as well, because we do get to take that income and pump it right back into the town. It saves a lot of different costs. They're asking for, more money through the town. So hoping March will be the same.
With all of the summer programs that rolled out, I got an email that it went live and I didn't get a chance to jump on and look. Were any of them adaptive by any chance?
We're bringing in inclusion people back.
Is that the inclusion sports?
Yeah.
Nice.
Bringing them back. I've been talking with them for a while now. Spring, it didn't end up really working out between our schedules for field space and space. So spring it ended up working out, but we have bringing them in for the summer, seeing how that goes and hopefully growing that relationship forward.
Are they offering, sometimes I see in towns when inclusion sports is offered, it's like 2 different sports.
Yes.
Did you talk about what sports you would be doing?
Yes, track and field and soccer.
Okay, my only recommendation, because as I jumped to the different towns, seeing like, oh, can my kid go here? Could my kid go here? I would notice that like the surrounding towns, I kind of wish they were coordinating which sports they were doing, because they were doing the same ones. So I would go to like North Reading and I'm like, oh, my kid wouldn't like that. And then I would go to like Burlington and I'm like, oh, I wish it was a different thing. It's the same thing. So if you could just kind of see what other towns are doing and then just make sure you're doing something different, because if people want a town hop, it would be available to them.
And do you see a lot of folks from different towns kind of going here, right? Like it's.
I would, because I travel to many different towns. So like we do baseball in Wakefield and I've done soccer in North Reading and I do bowling in Billerica. And I would I would love to do something in Reading. But other people would, they'll get on the computer and I'm not gonna drive to like Lexington, but I'll drive, to the surrounding towns. So the ones that touch Reading are the best ones.
And then Andover, I went out to Andover to talk about doing some adaptive recreation. It was probably, 3-4 months ago or so. They got back to me last week with some of their offerings that they have upcoming starting in March 22nd. I can share them with you. They have a therapeutic recreation director that runs these programs in coordination with SNL staff, which we use SNL right now. So I've been speaking with them and asking if they can bring this program to Reading as well and not just be focused in Andover. I spoke with John Fudo at the YMCA and he thinks he has some gym space he can give up as well right now. So I'm going to try to be collaborating with them to see if their therapeutic rec person will come over. It could be a split, like as far as registration numbers, like if they register through us, we can bring in those funds and we may have to reimburse Andover for their therapeutic rec specialists coming out there as well too. So they have a spring session up, a summer session up already right now, and I want to try to duplicate what they're doing out there and bring it into Reading. It could be, it's in Andover for this spring and then it's in Reading for, the early summer months. So still looking for that. And then I know I spoke with John Fudo on Monday. He's looking at bringing in some wheelchair basketball. And I said, I'd love to collaborate with him on that as well too. So we're actively looking to bring in some adaptive stuff as well. And therapeutic rec is still on our mind and getting someone in here who is certified at some point in the future.
As long as it's still
Still there.
bumping around the wheelhouse and trying to make it work. Yeah.
It's still there. That's all.
All right.
Yeah,
That's a
Well-
big conversation too at the conference. There's a few talks about that, sessions and stuff too, so that was.
Yeah, we were hoping to bring in an inclusion specialist to do some trainings this year. It's a little bit pricey to bring them in this year. So we're gonna be reaching out to a few more folks to have them come in and talk to our entire staff as a whole. And come up with some strategies on working with kids who may have, disability or have IEPs or, some kind of learning disability as well too. So Ed's been kind of shopping around for that as well to get our staff trained.
Very nice. Well, thank you both.
Yeah,
And thanks
thank you.
Jenna too. Well, she left, but I want to thank her too, for everything you guys do. It's amazing. Every time I come into this meeting,
There's more, Rich. We don't bore you. with-
I know, the initiatives that you have is always blows me
You do a
away.
Come to work day with me.
Yeah, I'll do
Drive
that
around in
someday.
a white van.
I'd love to do
see
that.
some of The strange things you would never.
I'd
think
love to
we'd
do that. I'd love to do that. Love to do that. So thank you again,
Oh, you're
Ed and Jim. Really appreciate and I know you guys stay on top of everything, which is great. Look, you're the best interest for everybody in the town and both financially and for everybody.
If we miss something, feel free to call us
Yeah.
out. It doesn't always have to be kumbaya in here.
Yeah.
Everything's great. Like if there's something you want on an agenda item, like I said, reach out to Eric as well and we'll try to keep you up to date. A lot of big projects coming up. The next 2 months are gonna be busy. Every day it's a meeting with Recal or you kind of pick a ball
Yep.
and figure out solutions. And then you've got Birch Meadow Phase 2 coming up as well. So a lot of moving parts and then just the random stuff that pops up, whether it's with neighbors and parks and just trying to keep everyone happy.
Yeah, that's good.
So-
That's great. Well, thank you. Any other questions from anybody? Before we ask a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
Second that? All right, we go around the room.
Michael, aye.
Laura Noonan, I.
Kate Kaminer, aye.
Eric Kramer, aye.
Rich and I. So the meeting is adjourned at 7:55. Everybody.
Good job, Rich.
Everybody.